there a guy out there in your estimation, David, that would be perfect? Because I know there's so many names out there right now that would be perfect for developing two young stars in Tatum and Brown to take them to that next level. Because that's really what this whole process is going to be about. It's going to be about how do I develop these two guys to be the next level stars that I need them to be.
Several people who are out there in the universe, in the coaching universe, that could come to Boston, could handle the expectations, could handle the pressure, could maximize the talent level of Tatum and Brown. I mean, look, Kenny Atkinson, hell of a coach. I think he's a really good coach, and should be a head coach in this league again, because he took nothing in Brooklyn and made a winning team out of it. I mean, they had nothing, and he won with it. I think Sam Cassell, who you guys know very well, I think Sam's ready to be a head coach. I think having played in Boston, having been on a championship team, he understands the history of Boston and what it takes to win in Boston. I think he would have a great rapport with some of the young guys. So there are. I'm not going to say there's lots of people that could do it, but I think there are people that could come in and do a good job there. Mike has a certain style. It's about offense. It's not really about defense. But that's okay. He's won a lot of games with that, playing that style, Yep. So, like I said, there's lots of people that could come in and handle that job. I think. I don't, and again, whether you could certainly make a case if it's somebody that hasn't been a head coach before in this league and you want to make a case for Carol Lawson, you want to make a case for some of the other, Becky Hammond or someone like that, you can make a case for them. It's more of a gamble because they haven't done it before. But could they come in and do a job? Yeah, I think so. Sure.
So Adrian Wojnarowski put out yesterday some of the people Brad Stevens is reportedly intending to reach out to Billups, sure. Obviously, who is a favorite around here in terms of his potential for this job. He's obviously on the Clippers staff. You've got Darvin Ham on the Bucks staff, Charles Lee as well for the Mavericks, Jamal Mosley for the Nets, Ime Udoka. Stevens has already talked to internal candidates, past and present, Jay Larranaga, Jerome Allen, who apparently has been offered a similar role with the Pistons that he currently has, Scott Morrison, Joe Mazzulla as well. You mentioned Carol Lawson, who is not yet, as far as we know, up for an interview, a little cagey as to whether she'd even be able to get out of her Duke contract to get the job in the first place. She's, barely been there, only coached 4 games lifetime, but we know Brad and the Celtics in general, big fans of Kara. She was asked about it, I guess, on an Ask Me Anything Bleacher Report thing that she did. And didn't say she wouldn't be interested, just kind of didn't touch it. She said, speculation, you can go down the rabbit hole, and there'll be all sorts of names that continue to surface. It's expected to really be an expansive search on the part of the Celtics and Brad Stevens. Unlike obviously for his new job, certainly for his old job, they're going to really kick the can on everybody and find out what they like. Is there someone, I know you said there are a lot of people you think could do a good job. Is there someone that you think, you believe makes the most sense, especially coming off of Brad? Like we've maintained, going with, and it's sort of, like you go from Doc to Brad, 2 totally different backgrounds and styles and all of it. Do you pivot back? Do you go with a former player and whether that's WNBA in the form of Kara or Becky, or obviously NBA, and maybe it's a first time coach, maybe it's a retread, who knows? But do you go with that presence that obviously this team, short of Walter McCarty being an assistant on the staff a few years ago, they haven't, today's players, they haven't had that person on the bench. Do they need that?
I think, look, not necessarily. I think Jayson Tatum, Jayson Tatum got coached by Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, come on. I mean, he's been coached by the best. So I don't know that he's necessarily looking for an archetype, right? To kind of come in. Would Chauncey be great? Of course, Chauncey's going to be great wherever he goes. Okay, because Chauncey is a personable guy. He knows how to challenge people. He knows how to, I think, get more out of people. He was a point guard, which I think really helps you when you're a head coach, because you're used to having to get everybody going and figure out a way to get that guy a shot that hadn't touched the ball in a week, and I got to get him going. And you have to challenge people. You have to step to people who step to you. So Chauncey will be a good head coach no matter what he does. I think personally he's going to Portland, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's the Celtics. Celtics have cachet.
But wasn't he one of the guys who was, really instrumental in convincing Kevin Garnett to come here?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it was the bittersweet thing because it didn't work out for him personally, but he understands.
Let's just put that all on Rick Pitino and move on, though, right?
Exactly. The Boston Celtics are the Boston Celtics. You listen when they call you. You have to listen. He gets that. So he would be I think he's going to be a good head coach no matter where he goes. All those names are fine. All of them could do the job. And again, this comes back to I don't know what Brad's looking for in a coach because I've never had to ask him what he's looking for in a coach before. Yeah. So much like the fact that Brad Stevens was picked out of nowhere. Nobody had the Celtics picking Brad Stevenson as their head coach. I am not going to be surprised if he picks somebody that nobody is even considering or thinking about, because he certainly has never had to do this before. So I suspect his universe of potential coaches is going to be much different than kind of your traditional, well, this guy's free, this person's free, they have to be on the list because everybody talks about it.
I wonder too, and the Celtics really didn't do this. They brought in some people that had been around, but they didn't do this with Brad Stevens when he got here from Butler. If they go with a first-time head coach, especially a former player, a Chauncey Billups, a Sam Cassell, Carol Lawson, or the list goes on, you can't help but kind of think back to the Steve Nash situation in Brooklyn, where okay, well, let's surround him with Mike D'Antoni. Let's let's give him some former experienced NBA head coaches that, in the back of their minds might be trying to take his job long term, but in the short term, could help with that transition. I wonder if Brad would opt to do something like that.
Could. I mean, again, that gets back to what does he know and think about what Jayson would want or need, and what does Jaylen Brown want or need going forward. Do they need a nurturer? Do they need someone to kick him in the ass? So I don't think you can preclude anything, I guess is what I would say in terms of qualities for a head coach. You can make the argument for anybody except for John Beeline. You know what I mean? You could make a case for a great college coach that's had success, at a high level. I mean, we were talking about who's going to replace Mike Krzyzewski, and, but this was before they hired Shire, and it was like, well, Jeff Capel could do it, right? Jeff Capel's been at the program. He's gone on his own. He's won. Tommy Amaker could do it. And then you think about, well, could Tommy Amaker coach the Celtics? Why not? He's had a really good college run of late. So, I mean, people like that. And that's what I'm talking about, kind of off the beaten track that you wouldn't think of normally. You could make an argument for basically anybody because it's a pretty good job. And the guy making the decision has no blueprint. There's just I can't say this is what they should do because the guy making the decision's never done it before. So I have nothing to base it on.
You go back through his quotes over the years too. He does that Bill Belichick thing where he just talks up and praises everybody.
Right.
So you can find
it's just hard to kind of get a feel for it. Yeah. I don't have a sense that he's like locked into it has to be a Celtic. It has to be somebody from the family. I have no sense that that's something that he views as we have to do that. But if he did it, would it surprise me? No, not really.
Hi guys, Cedric Maxwell here. I want to take a minute to tell you about Marigold Medical. I'm used to keeping my body in great shape, but with arthritis, even the most simple everyday tasks became unbearable. As soon as I called Marigold Medical, I knew I was in good hands. No drugs, no surgery, just an experienced team of caring professionals that wanted to get me back to doing the things I love. Make the call to Marigold Medical and get back to pain-free life.